Hi, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today is my honor to welcome my guest, Anthony Rivest, who has an amazing story about taking risks, adversity, and following your heart. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you so much for joining me today. As promised, I have an amazing guest that is joining me today. His name is Anthony Rivest. He is a personal transformation expert. Anthony, thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot tell you how much I've been looking forward to this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, my friend. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I think it's going to be a great show today.
Perfect. I would agree. So personal transformation expert, I'll be honest, I have never heard of this term. Can you let us and our audience educate us about what this is and what that means?
Sure. So, to be honest, this term is quite recent. I was thinking, like, how can I speak about what I'm doing without saying life coaching? Because for me, life coaching, it's very general and very vague, and like you can do a bit of everything, but you're not the best at anything.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, how can I be different and create intrigue? And it's working because you asked me the question. So
Yeah.
basically, my strength right now is to help stressed out professionals who are going through a life transition and they want to build a life that lights them up. So to be able to do that, you have to go through a lot of personal transformation inside. And often people look outside themselves to find answers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it can only get you so far. So I really believe that all the answers are coming from the inside, the real ones, the real intuitive and powerful ones. And if you follow this inner calling, like the doors of opportunity will open so much like bigger and faster, and you will attract the right people, the right resources. And I can speak about my story in a couple minutes, but this is basically how I live my life every day, and it's so far it seems to be working.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because you landed on the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. So that's awesome.
yeah, that's a
And
big
I'm
win for
excited
me. Thank
about
you
it.
so much. Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
win.
Um, so you mentioned you focused on kind of stressed out professionals. Now, are you talking people that are just changing careers, or are you talking people that are like, I've always wanted to, write a book or do this big, huge thing, and they're, freaking out about it? Like, is there
Yeah, it can be
an
both, Kel,
aspect?
to be
Okay.
honest. There's so among my clients right now, um, yes, I have people, for example, for in IT professionals, and they're software engineers, and they want to transition to something else, more entrepreneurial. But there's also other people like journalists and translator who are tired to just have a maybe a little wage, or they're freelancer and they don't know like what's next because they don't feel as fulfilled as they would like to be. So the stress at work, I would say, is very, it's a plague in society, like how people are stressed out. And even for me recently, I had, I would say, health issues the last few months. So I was feeling inflammation in my body due to high level of stress. So I became a father a year ago. I'm working from home, I'm building the business online, and many things were like, whoa, what's going on here? So I had to listen to myself to come back to the center and start to meditate more and be more grateful and breathe. But if we go back before that, Kale, it's coming back really from 2016. And let me share with that. Let me share with your
Yeah.
audience this story because I think they will like the authenticity of it.
Please.
So
Yes.
to be able to speak about life transformation, I had to go through one myself. It was a very intense one. So back in 2016, I was taking drugs recreationally for maybe already 3 years. But then it became not so fun anymore. So I was selling insurance door to door across the province of Quebec, which is my native province in Canada. And I was miserable. Every week I was knocking doors. I was trying to sell stuff that I didn't believe in. So I was not sold on myself and I was not sold on the product. Therefore, I was not successful.
It was a
And there was
job. Yeah.
zero base salary. It was only commission. So let you imagine the stress and the ups and downs of emotions when you can have $0 for 4 days, and then on Friday maybe you will have a sale for $1,000. It's very volatile, and
Yeah.
I would compare that to people in the stock market who are like day trader and like ups and downs, very draining. So I didn't like my work. So on the weekend I was self-destructing myself through partying, So drinking and drugs, but mostly drugs, because I wanted to forget and I wanted to feel alive. Maybe that's maybe like one thing I can share is
Right.
people who are stuck in jobs they don't like, especially in corporate world, they feel a bit dead inside. And
Yeah.
they will seek something quick and gratifying to feel better, but ultimately this is only going to bring them more depression, more anxiety, more solitude, and getting away from real connection with human beings and connection with your own body, which is the ultimate feedback mechanism to know if you're doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, so I'm fast forwarding to summer 2016, August, if I remember well.
Okay.
I was at home and I've been taking drugs for 3 days in a row at that moment. And I felt my heart, like just electroshock in my heart, like something very powerful. And like, this is not normal.
Right.
I spoke to my ex-girlfriend at the time. I said, I don't feel well. I lie down on the couch and I thought I was having a heart attack. So I was hyperventilating. I could not feel my face. I couldn't feel my arms. And I was screaming because I was a bit delusional. Grandma, I don't want to die, because my grandma is deceased. And I was thinking like maybe she would help me or something. So grandma, I don't want to die.
How old are you at that
I was
point?
26. So now I'm 30.
Okay.
It was,
Yep.
sorry, not, yeah, no. So 6 years ago. So I was 24, sorry.
24. Okay. Yeah, a
26,
young man. No
26.
reason to be having any heart issues.
No, absolutely not. And no, absolutely, it's really so. I was screaming like this, and I don't want to die. So finally, we called the ambulance paramedics. They came to my house, and they just made me breathe in a box with like so 4 in, 4 you hold, 4 down, just like inhale and exhale, and there's just normal way. Could calm down a bit. Then I went to the hospital, and I will never forget what one nurse told me. She said, "Anthony, you only have one heart. Take care of it." And for that moment, it was the beginning of a new era for me. It was a new beginning, the Phoenix reborn. I went to rehab very shortly, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but I could not get the answer that I was looking for. So I was using like coaching methods, and my parents are very much in self-development. So I could coach myself to feel better about what's going on, and I just got the message. In front of the rehab center was a mixed martial arts gym. And I think these guys over there pretty much saved my life. If I didn't have this support system of new friends, new healthy habits, training, feeling the pain in a physical way, but to grow as a training pain, which is normal,
Right.
it creates a natural high. And I think people who maybe are in the position like they don't feel satisfied at work, at least try to find a physical activity that you will feel alive. It's going to be a first start to maybe have a clearer mind, calmer mind, and have a regular routine, meet new people. So I trained full time for a year, and I was training very hard, and I was in the hope of having a first amateur fight. But this fight never happened because I got knocked out in the training, and I had got a severe concussion, which
Yeah.
lasted for 4 months. I could not, I was sleeping 16 hours a day. I could not walk at the end of the street. I had terrible headaches. But all
Wow.
of that, Kale, was like it was leading me to where I was supposed to be. So if I was not meant to be a fighter, this is because it was not like the divine plan that was supposed to be there. So then, leading to where I am today, and now everything will make sense for you guys. I discovered a language platform called italki, and I wanted to learn Russian at the time. So I was just very curious, wanted to learn Russian. Subscribe on the website, and on this website, I met a girl, a very specific girl, special girl. She was
Right.
teaching me Russian, and I was teaching her English. And after a few weeks, we discovered this is something more than just language exchange. We're starting to have feelings for each other. So the first 4 months of our relationship was online, no physical connection, just WhatsApp and Skype, just texting, pictures. But one day, and this is maybe the most powerful part of the story, is one day I was lying in my bed and I had a vision, a clear vision of I was gonna marry this girl. I was in a church and I could see the families. I could see my grandmother as an angel over my head and the priest. It was a very specific scene, and I had a tear of inspiration in my eye. When I came to breakfast to speak to my parents, I shared my story, and they both had a tear in their eye too. And
Right.
I still have goosebumps today to speak about this. So I said to my parents, I'm leaving to Georgia. So Georgia, not USA, Georgia under Russia, 8,000 kilometers away from my Canada, a second world country, conditions way worse than Canada. I
Right.
had zero money. I didn't know the language. I didn't have any business. Pretty much like being a newborn in an adult body and just hoping to make it work. My dad gave me $500. He said, I can give you 500 and you just figure it out.
Right.
So that's what happened. So I came to Georgia in 2018. It was my expat birthday was July 12th, so a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And now I have a business. I have a wife for the last 3 years. I have a 1-year-old daughter. I have an apartment, and everything was built out of just a vision and trusting this inner calling, this inner voice, that everything will be fine. But the adversity was tremendous, relentless, and here I am today.
Wow. Let me just start with saying that. Wow, that is incredible, man. There's so many things I want to say. First of all, congratulations on marriage, right? And finding what essentially is your one, the woman of your life.
She
And
is, of
two,
course.
the birth of your first child. That is amazing. And is boy or girl? Sorry, I missed that.
It's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
girl.
Her birthday is tomorrow, by the way.
Tomorrow. Hey, happy early birthday. That's awesome.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. That is amazing. I always love hearing those success stories of, finding your mate and your love and starting that family. Wow, there's so much to unpack here. So where do I start? Uh, wow. What were you when you ended up in the hospital, right? So that was kind of your defining moment, right?
I
We
would say
could
near-death
abs-
experience, to be honest. Like I
right.
was feeling like this is the end for me, so I can say yeah. If at this moment, I could already be gone.
And I'm assuming during that process, you never had a like, okay, great, I've done all the things I wanted to do. I've lived a great life, and I'm ready to go meet my maker, right? I'm assuming that was not the
No,
case, right?
it was the rock bottom, man. Rock bottom. There was
Right.
nothing good at the time. Almost nothing good except maybe my parents and some friends. But I felt miserable. I felt dead inside. I was avoiding myself. I was avoiding my own demons and just lying to people about many things. Just a very different Anthony that you see right now in 2022.
Yeah. And when you came out of that and you had that epiphany, right? That light bulb goes off, and you talk about walking into the mixed martial arts center and kind of going down this different path of which includes self-care and discipline and all those types of things in personal development, not to mention just the physical part of it and the skill, learning the skills.
Yeah.
Was it, I'm trying to think of how best to say this, was it now finding a purpose? What was the change of Anthony riding to the hospital in the ambulance and Anthony coming out of the hospital? Was it instantaneous? You talked about going to rehab and stuff. Was it cold turkey? Like, nope, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Was that a process? Can you
Yeah.
explain a
It
little bit
was a
about that?
process. So after a few times, of course, I still took drugs a couple times the year after that. But once you start to be in a new environment, and the purpose, yes, came from within, but also came from the people around me. Because I think if you're surrounded by amazing individuals who are in their own way unique, but driven, ambitious, competitive,
Right.
helpful, it becomes this energy is like when you have a good family, it's the same. And the slogan of the gym is it was written more than a team, a family, and I could feel that. And I think for somebody who's dealing with addiction, there's this risk of being alone. Even if you have people around you, you just feel alone, and
Yeah.
you seek a connection with the substance instead of having a connection with real people.
Right.
So with MMA, I I was very dedicated to the work, to the training, and in 2017, I went to Dublin, Ireland, to train at Conor McGregor's gym. So he was my idol at the time. And before he entered many scandals, I went to Dublin for 6 weeks. I met world-class athletes. I spoke with them. I could train with them. And just I became better as a man to go there. Just it was one of my dream at the time, and I work on that. I went there alone, so already there. My first experience with a little expat, like 6 weeks, 3 weeks was a lot. And then I
Right.
came back to Canada because Dublin is very cold. It's not very cold. It's rainy and gray, and it was November. So I
Yeah.
let you
Oh,
imagine the rain on your face is just like it's eating your. It's horrible. So I didn't like that very inspiring and positive city, but the gym was good. Anyway,
yeah.
so we come back to Canada, and so yeah, after that, the vision. So what was the question again, my friend, Kel? After that
Yeah.
was
So,
the
well, we
inspiration.
could, yeah, so we can digress just a little bit because I want to
Yeah.
ask you, and you brought something up about um, the environment. How
Yeah.
critical of a role did that play? Getting yourself out of, certainly it's easy to not go to the parties anymore and things of
Hmm.
that nature. But how much of a struggle is that? Because I'm assuming there was probably, friends that you kind of had to walk away from that were not at all ready to go on your similar kind of journey, and
Yeah.
maybe even the girlfriend you talked about at the time. Can you talk a little bit about more the environment aspect of that transition from old
Absolutely.
Anthony to new Anthony of who
Well,
you wanted to be?
the good thing, I was like maybe in hindsight is I I broke up with this girlfriend like 2 weeks after this episode of hospital. So like
Okay.
the relation was not going well at the time. Like I knew there was an expiration date already for a while, but I was just ignoring the signs. And just
Right,
life
right,
put it in front of me like Anthony, this is enough. And we both
right,
agreed to split in good terms, nothing bad between us. Uh, but she was not the problem. I was the problem because I was the one insecure or like jealous or things like this. So I had to
yeah,
work on myself, and I think that's why it was so crucial for me to go through martial arts as a single man, but with a team to build myself from the ground up to be able to attract my wife after that. Because if imagine if I would have met my wife like 3 months after this event, I would never be ready to receive her in my life, never in 1,000 years. So environment, yes, is key. The friends, I was still friends with them. Just, of course, you see them less often, and you have to be clear what you're going through. And people knew about it because this saw they could see I was not doing well, and actually, you know
right,
what, they were quite supportive of my recovery. And I'm not a big fan of 12 steps and all that stuff. I think it's pretty much based like you can become addicted to the meetings themselves, and it's not
right,
empowering people as much. I went there a couple times, and the success rate is not very high. You can search online; it's not very high. So I knew there was something else I had to find for myself, something more powerful, more inspiring. And I think when you find that calling or that vision, and you start to take action on that, you can go through so much more challenges, pain, adversity than if you don't have this. So I know your podcast is on leadership, and I would say the leadership to find it like everybody can be a leader if they focus on what is the most important to them every day. And this goes back to like prioritize your days and time creation or time management, doesn't matter how people want to call it.
right.
But a true leader, and I know that's one of your other questions, but I want to say leadership comes from within, and you can be an authentic leader by being true to your principles, to yourself, and trying to make a difference in your own terms around you. And if you give as much as you can, life will give you back. The principle of fair exchange is a very important thing for me. If
Right.
you give, you will receive, even if you don't know how it will come. This doesn't matter. You will become more wealthy as an individual on many aspects just by having this mentality that I'm there to serve people, I'm there to help them grow. And if they grow, I grow at the same time. That's why I love coaching and teaching.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty incredible. I love that, and I would wholeheartedly agree and second that. So let's fast forward just a little bit because I don't want to, because this is a unique aspect that I think most of my audience has not experienced or doesn't
Yeah.
have
Let's go to
exposure
your niche,
to.
man. Let's go.
Yeah. So fast forward, you meet this amazing woman online and you're teaching each other these skills. It's a mutually beneficial relationship at this point. And then, right, like as you said, you go through this process of, could this be more? Is this more? And you're having these things, but there's a little bit of a, let's just call it obstacle in the way, in the form of, would you say 8,000 kilometers
Yeah.
of, with beyond just language barriers and cultural differences, family differences, upbringings, all those things that go into just a normal barriers to relationships. How did you, like, what was the thing that you're like, I'm going, this is it? Was she like inviting you over, like, hey, you need to come to
Uh,
Georgia? Or was this more just like, what was it that
you
you,
know what? It's
because
a
that's
funny
huge.
story. Thanks for asking. It's actually a funny story because at first we were joking about this. She was telling me, uh, "You will see by the end of the summer, I will make you visit my country." And it was like a joke at first, and
Right.
it became
Yeah.
real. Like I was really interested in the country. I never heard about this little country in the
Yeah.
Caucasus.
I would
Never
say
learned about
probably
this. Yeah,
90% of people in North America have never heard of Georgia.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
the language is Georgian, so it's a
Okay.
different alphabet. It's one of the hardest language in the world. I would say my level is now intermediate.
After
I
three
have
years,
in 4 years, yeah,
4 years.
and
Okay.
my wife is quite critical about my level, but I can speak with taxi driver, I can speak with pharmacists, with people in the shops, I can buy things, but don't ask me about politics or economics. Like I can,
Right. Right.
I can figure out a little life, but it's a very hard. I had to spend hundreds of hours, if not, I don't know how many hours, man.
Yeah.
It was a process
Countless.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what was it? What was the thing, right? So
Ah,
she
yes.
did she just entice you?
So she invited me. I came here, but
Okay.
at first it was not the dreamy relationship. So I had to work for it, and
Okay.
I can assume most people in your audience will relate. When a woman wants a man, she wants to see confidence. She wants to see that he's maybe more entrepreneur, like he will be proactive. And imagine a guy who come in your country, you've never seen him before. He doesn't have money. He does he doesn't
Right.
speak the language. So she was like my mother at first, to be honest. And this was maybe a turn off for
Interesting.
her, but
Yeah.
she could feel I was like I had a good heart. And that's the only thing that saved me from the beginning. Like I was this close to come back to Quebec very shortly after my arrival. And like I'm a super failure. That's it. But I decided no, I'm gonna find a way. I spoke with her. We came to an agreement, just like to give a chance, and
Yeah.
finally it worked out after some time. But here, the culture in Georgia is very conservative. It's Orthodox Christian. They're very like on principles, and for me to come from Canada like this, it was a big change, man, and it was a lot for the family also to accept me. But they could see at the beginning I was really there for the good reasons, and I think that's one of the things that saved myself at the beginning to not go back empty-handed. Yeah,
Wow. That is a level of commitment that is incredible. So I mean, I just congratulations. That is inspiring, and that is phenomenal. And you can totally see, even just in the short time that we've known each other, and during this interview, you are very genuine in your purpose, and just
yeah,
being open and honest with people. And I can absolutely see how a lady would be attracted to that. So, despite at the time having no
yeah.
job and former income
Everybody
and
starts
ability to
somewhere,
support. So,
Everybody
yeah,
starts somewhere, and I think if you can be with somebody where they have nothing, and imagine when you have everything.
right, right, yeah,
So much
yes,
power couple like Grant and Elena. I really admire them because I aspire to be like them in the future, to have this kind of success as a couple, to show what's possible as a family, have 10x kids and raise them in a beautiful way that they can believe in their own unique genius and not be just stuck in the mentality of mediocrity and averageness. For me, it's quite boring. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because and the reality, especially in their case, Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone, they would not be what they are today without each other, right? If Grant had never
exactly.
met Elena, we would probably not even know Grant's name. Absolutely, I wholeheartedly believe. So yeah,
Yeah,
that is phenomenal. So now let's a little bit. So specifically, again, this is a topic that I think is not a common one for my audience. Being an expat, in a
Mhm.
foreign country. What are some of the, whether they're kind of funny challenges or like legit challenges that you've encountered while doing that?
Mm, I don't think challenges were funny. I think they were just real challenges, to be
Right.
honest. Like I don't have many funny stories to share, but I can say that to be an expat, especially when you come from a well-developed country like Canada or USA or some place in Europe like France or UK, and you move to a country which has less infrastructure. There's no recycling here. There's no composting. There's no like democracy. It's a democracy, quote unquote. I don't know really who's voting for who, um,
Right.
but just to build your lifestyle in a new country, I would say you have to figure out a way to feel home in your heart before feeling home in the country. And that's a very deep principle that I try to keep, well, to share with people that because sometimes people try to change country to avoid or escape their problems. But I'm telling you guys, if you try to leave, let's say USA to go to China, anything is going to be better over there or vice versa. It's an illusion. Your problems will follow you everywhere you go because you're the same person. You will just attract different circumstances to remind you your weaknesses. So the first year I lived alone in a little 30-meter square apartment, horrible bed, uh, little couch, no TV, like hermit mode, monk mode, fully. I was journaling like crazy. I was just, man, I had so much time on my hands. Like a
Right.
couple of clients I was teaching, or I'm still teaching also, but French and English online.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
yeah, but as an expat, I was there and you go in the street and nobody's speaking English. So you just have to be so creative to communicate and don't be afraid to face ridicule. So if you feel like you look stupid, accept it, embrace it, acknowledge
Right.
it. I remember, okay, one funny story. So I was so bad with Georgian that I could just say, if I translate in English, so me, and then I would say the word English as an adverb form. So me Englisurat means me Englishly, but it's not even grammatical. But I was so stressed to speak with people. Like they were asking me, "Oh, where is this street?" or "Do you have any cigarette?" And I could not speak. I was just me Englisurat. That was it, man, for
Right.
months like this. So you have to be kind with yourself, and it takes some time to accept your new reality, your new environment. So if all your leaders on the podcast, maybe they receive a new promotion, a new job, or they go for a new project and they feel this discomfort so much every day, it just
Yeah.
you become so much more powerful to embrace this discomfort. And I know it's cliche to say be comfortable in the discomfort,
Right.
but I am a living proof of that because if I had stayed in Canada, I would have such a normal life, just a good family. Maybe I would have again just a job like I don't know even what I would be doing to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe not a girlfriend. Maybe I would just be with my friends or and if you don't find something that is putting your heart on fire, then what are you doing?
Right.
Because you only have so much days left, so much weeks, years left, and you never know what will happen and when. Okay, COVID came, people lost their jobs, a lot of mental health issues during these 2 years.
Yeah.
But you don't know, there might be a pandemic again in 2 years. There's this monkeypox, and I'm not gonna put fear on people because I don't even watch the news. I think it's baloney.
Right. It's
Um,
almost like they're after ratings more than anything else.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
so much like sensationalism. So I don't give attention to that.
Yeah.
But when you find this purpose in yourself, in your heart, then you become unstoppable. And as an expat, to come here and building my business online from scratch, literally from scratch, I had like zero, like two clients maybe.
Yeah.
Um, it requires effort, dedication, and my biggest strength was just connect with people, give them the space to communicate, to speak. And what's funny is in my French and English lessons, people were opening up to me like crazy. I had people crying to me, just about all life situations, and that's of course feed into my coaching because coaching was always important for me. Um, so am I still on topic or I'm
Yeah, no, you're
yeah
good. I think this is in encapsulating all the topics. And there were two things that you had mentioned that I want to just briefly highlight, because I think they're so critical, and it's such a foundational concept. One is, right, essentially your problems will follow you, right? If you're a jerk in America, you're probably going to be a jerk in Georgia, right? If that is your outlook on life, and you're hoping that, if I just move to a beach house in Thailand and that's going to solve all your problems, right? That's not how it works.
Delusion, fantasy,
Yes. Yeah. So I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. And the second one, you were talking about, and I knew there would be a funny story, right? Because there's always a funny story. You can't not have some sort of funny interaction in a foreign country. Um, it's basically not taking yourself too seriously. Like, you understand you're in this environment, which absolutely stressful. Not being able to communicate is a very stressful situation. Through my deployments and being in the local, whatever country in Africa I've been in, or wherever, not being able to communicate is that's a thing, right? And you just accepting that, being uncomfortable, understanding that's going to happen, but working through it and not taking yourself too seriously, or getting too down on yourself where you're like, I'm never going to learn Georgian and I'm out of here, right? Like, just split.
And something that's also maybe going to be useful for people is, if you're stuck in your identity of I'm smart or I'm clever, then it will be so painful to accept this. Like, I feel like a newborn, really. You don't know anything, and my family-in-law can only speak Russian and Georgian, no English whatsoever. So to be sitting at the dinner table and just listen to people and you don't know what's going on, I challenge anybody listening to your podcast to go in a foreign country and live with a host family for a week without knowing the language. Tell me how you feel. It's gonna transform your perception of, like, what is intelligence? Who am I? Why do I feel stupid? I don't want to feel like that. It's horrible. But you know what? It's temporary. You wake up the next day, you're still yourself, you still know English, you still have your family, your friends, your wife, your husband, your dog, doesn't matter. So you just went through a difficult situation that you felt silly. But again, you are much stronger than you were yesterday.
1% at a time.
Little advice, little challenge for you guys if you want to try expat lifestyle for even 3 months, 6 months. It can be very valuable.
Right. That's really neat. Man, so we've talked on so many different subjects and stuff, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, because, right, leadership podcasts and people, are always, and I'm specifically always interested in people's experiences, because it is based on your experience, whether as a young man, first job, or mowing lawns, whatever you did, right? It was when you entered the workforce. What is your opinion or your interpretation of the difference between a manager and a leader, specifically in a business type of setting?
Yeah, sure. So, you know what? I think for many years I had this idea that a leader, and I remember seeing on Google, there was this image of a leader in front of his team. People were behind him, but they were all giving effort together as a team. Like, it was like a triangle or something, and the leader was in front, but was giving the same effort as all the people behind. For me, the manager, it doesn't mean you cannot be a good manager. I don't want to sound like I'm just dissing on managers.
Right.
Maybe managers are more like, they will supervise what you're doing, but are they willing to do what you are doing as an employee? Can they prove that they can do what you're doing, or they have the compassion to, like, appreciate your work? If, let's say, you're lower on the hierarchy, and you don't want to feel like they're just condescending and looking at you from like high above, like, I'm a manager, I can tell you what I want, you can do whatever I'm asking you to do. So that's, for me, it's a bad manager. A manager leader, but a good leader, would absolutely be in the trenches with his team, will be open heart, the door will be open to speak when they need to speak, will celebrate the little wins every day, and if there's tension in the house, in the office, he will take people personally and say, hey man, what's going on? Let's speak about this. I feel like there's a tension between Kathy and Pete.
Yeah.
What's going on? Just tell me. I'm going to find a solution with you. I'm here for you. That's a real leader. That's unshakable confidence that he's there with the right people at the right time, and he believes in his team so much, and it's going to exude in the vision of the company. and then, man, the results will come 100% with that formula.
I love it. That's perfect. I don't think you missed anything, or well, I mean, there wasn't a miss or anything, but I think that is a very concise and clear definition between the two, because, right, realistically, one is you want to be both. You want to have managers that are leaders, but not all, and maybe even not all leaders are managers, but to find that right combo. So that's great. All right, what do you have coming up? What's going on? How do people get? Well, first of all, let's start with that. How do people get in touch with you if they want? Like, man, I got to learn more about this guy. This is fascinating. Sure. How do they get in touch with you?
Thank you so much for asking. So right now, two things. So you can find me personally as Anthony Rivest. So my last name is spelled Rivest. I guess you will see in the podcast description, but it's a French name. So the S is a silent letter, but it's Anthony Rivest. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at my name. And soon enough, next week will come my podcast, which Kale will be on it very soon too, called Your Brother's Podcast. And why your brother? For me, the brother is a symbolism of somebody who wants you to succeed. He wants you to grow, and he will not be afraid to tell you the truth when it's time to tell you the things in like, okay, that's important. You should know the truth. Yeah. And I'm a big brother of 4 in my family, so I was always in this role of like, I'm there for you. You can tell me whatever you want. So my podcast will be about inspiring life stories of people who've been through adversity, and we're there to help you grow, like a community of mentors, many business people, many coaches on the show. It will be very interesting. I've already many guests recorded and many to come. So Your Brother's Podcast will be on YouTube and all platforms for podcasting. And I will be pleased to share that with you guys when it will be live. And Kel will be with us also very soon. So I'm looking forward to this beautiful project. It's amazing. It's coming from my heart. I had an inspiration to do it, and I cannot not do it. It has to be done.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It was the same thing with me starting this podcast. Scary, challenging, but you just can't not do it. You would be doing yourself a disfavor. Yeah. I love that. Your Brother's Podcast. So absolutely. Make sure you give Anthony a follow on all his socials, and I will have links to those in the comments below. And then once his podcast goes live, we will also be posting that and getting you links to that, and be on the lookout for that. Your Brother's
so much.
Podcast.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Well, Anthony, thank you so much. This is such a refreshing and unique perspective, right? It's not the kind of our normal topic or anything, but I think it is so applicable, because really you're about, and your journey is so incredible of, right, the adversity, rising to the challenge, and then stepping out into something that is, frankly, to most people, absolutely terrifying to think about. But you did it, and it's working for you, and you're succeeding. You're making it work. So thank you for sharing your story with us, and your journey, and those challenges, and how you're going through it. I can't wait to kind of keep in touch and see.
It's just the beginning.
Another 3 years.
Yeah, of course, and we can have many episodes together. I will be pleased to just show up again and have new things to say. Life is a beautiful journey, people, and take every opportunity to grow. Don't fear, don't shy away from new things that are scary, because where is there fear, there's your most beautiful place to grow and become amazing individuals and communities. So embrace the discomfort, move forward, be amazing leaders, because everybody has a leader inside of themselves. I truly believe so. You just have to dig a bit, dust it off, limiting beliefs on the side, bye-bye, and we just go 100% all in.
Love it. Yes. All right, everybody, make sure you check out Anthony on his socials, and be on the lookout for Your Brother's Podcast coming soon. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. No matter where you are in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Talk to you soon. Bye.